On May 24th, 2024, alongside the release of their latest album, Clancy, 21pilots released a music video for the fifth track on that album, Routines in the Night. While not strictly speaking one of the three lore-based videos which were released as part of the Clancy album cycle, this video does contain many direct or indirect references to the lore and the DEMA story as a whole, and so I think it can serve to tell us more about this narrative than we might have initially suspected. So in this video, I'll go through all the different references which I noticed, as well as give my interpretation of what I believe is actually happening here, and how that relates to the broader DEMA story as a whole. Let's get into it. The video starts with Tyler in his bed, turning to lie flat on his back. This scene and the way in which it is shot is very reminiscent of the cover art for their first album, their self-titled album, as I believe I've mentioned in the past. In many ways, I see the imagery of this cover art from 2009 to depict a man, presumably Tyler, sleeping and falling away into a dream as he sleeps. Here in this video, we see Tyler/Clancy falling away into his own dream, in which he finds another version of himself who walks him through this layout. This guide is dressed in a white coat, with black paint smeared on his neck and hands as he paces up and down a dimly lit hallway, in a manner which is very reminiscent of the song and video of a Blurryface, Fairly Local. In that video also we saw another version of Clancy, but there was only one that time. The first room, which Clancy's guide shows himself, features the duo playing in what appears to be a very fancy treehouse in the middle of a forest, to judge by looking out the windows. Obviously, the treehouse reference is one which appears at various points all throughout 21pilots' discography, most notably in their most popular song, Stressed Out, but also in the song Forest, and to refer specifically to the trees themselves, in the song Trees. A few rooms later, Clancy is shown a small closet-looking room, in which another version of himself sits at a table which has some yellow flowers on it. The imagery of these yellow flowers definitely represents the Banditos as a whole, and in fact played a role in the music video for Jumpsuit, as the petals were used to distract the bishop. But this bundle more specifically was also seen to appear in the music video for Nico and the Niners. Then we see this shot of Josh playing drums in a room which is green-toned and empty, save for the shadowy figure of a bishop lurking in the background. This appears to be a direct callback to the Skilled and Icy era, in which we saw Josh and Tyler performing and creating under the watchful eye of the bishops. This was seen both on tour with the backing or supporting band, and also in Clancy's journal, as he details the creation of the album Skilled and Icy and the livestream performance, describing how it was done while he was locked in the room in this tower under the watchful supervision of the bishops. In some ways, this room with Josh in it also corresponds in look and theme to another room we see. Here, Clancy is sitting on the floor in front of a coat rack full of the robes which the bishops wear. Perhaps the most obvious of all the references so far, this clearly relates to Blurryface, Nico and the Nine Bishops, DEMA in general, and so on. But a more subtle reference, which I believe was intentional nonetheless, kicks in towards the end of the video, as an exaggerated motion blur is applied on several of the shots of Josh done drumming or Tyler's movements. This instantly makes one think of those very similar images which we see all throughout the digital remains. While it is not entirely clear yet what this imagery actually signifies, one possible interpretation is that it is a representation of how Clancy is fading away as he succumbs to the control of DEMA. The only other place I can think of where we see anything similar to this is in the music video for Levitate, at the end of which Clancy is captured and brought back to DEMA. Those are all the significant references which I noticed throughout the music video. But as I mentioned at the beginning, I believe there is a broader significance to this video beyond just cool references to past songs and videos. The Clancy we see guiding us, and also guiding the dreaming Clancy, wears a shirt on which are printed the numbers of the code relating to the failed perimeter escape, or FPE. From this we can surmise that the version of Clancy, the guide, has been recently captured and brought back to DEMA after a failed attempt to escape. Another interesting aspect of this video is that we are shown a total of 8 rooms throughout. There's the treehouse room, the room with the gray bricks, a small plain red room with a door that appears to be a patio door. There's the room that's sort of a cupboard with Clancy and the yellow flowers on the table. Josh's room under the stairs, the room in which Tyler sits in front of a coat rack of the bishop's robes, the room in which Josh plays under the surveillance of a bishop, and then a small, plain white room. The 9th room, if you will, is the hallway, which is occupied by this most recent FPE Clancy. All the other versions of Clancy which we see here are dressed all in black, with the stole around their necks. So it seems to me that this FPE Clancy represents the most recent failed attempt, the 9th failed attempt to escape DEMA, with each of the other 8 rooms representing the 8 failed attempts which came before this. For instance, the cupboard room could represent Clancy's escape and recapture, as we saw depicted in the music video for Jumpsuit. The dreaming Clancy, who we see at the start and the end of this video, is being shown around this layout by his former self, who has most recently attempted what the dreaming Clancy is about to attempt. FPE Clancy is therefore showing his future self these failed attempts in order that he might learn from their mistakes, and finally, on the 10th try, break the cycle and escape DEMA, never to return. But what do you think? Does this theory make sense? Or were there any other references which I missed throughout this video? With that being said, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more music reviews and commentary.